Hey guys, the rainy season has begun in Japan, and so has the planting season. It's been going for a while, so the farmers are pretty happy to have an endless supply of water, and it doesn't really stop them planting. They don't usually want water when they're harvesting, of course, because they don't want to harvest wet rice, but when they're planting they don't care because their fields are flooded anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. So they're all pretty happy. So are the birds and the other animals. Everybody's chirping and croaking and having a good time. So, a couple of quick topics for today. One is, some of you would have seen a video made previously where we're talking about the Japanese government did an experiment. They allowed 50 tourists. Those of you who missed that last video, 50, 50. 50 tourists. They allowed 50 tourists into Japan, into a population of 127 million people, just to see if it would cause any major catastrophes. So they let the 50 lucky people into Japan to have their tours, and it turns out that those 50 fully vaccinated people that had come in from other countries didn't cause any major catastrophes in Japan. So as a result of that, they've decided to lighten up a little bit more and let a few more tourists in. So, of course, this is the land of Yoku wa Karanai, don't really know. So that means that the details of who's allowed in and what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do is a little bit unclear. We contacted a few of the tour operators, the English-friendly tour operators on English-friendly directory, and asked them what was happening. And a couple of them, all they knew was that they weren't included yet, that the only tour operators that were included so far were the government approved ones like JTB and those big guys. So it's not going to help, it's only going to help the big companies, it sounds like at the moment. But again, not really clear exactly what the details are. Heard it was 20,000 people a day, not really sure if that's true either. So it's all very Yoko wa Karanai. So as far as that's concerned, we know there are some people watching these videos who've been waiting to come to Japan and do tours for the last couple of years. So what we suggest to you is like and follow our English Friendly Japan Facebook page, because what we've asked the tour operators to do is, as they do know more information, we've asked them to post onto Facebook, because of course those guys have had a terrible couple of years, so that they're monitoring the situation as closely as they can, because they're really keen to start doing tours again. So they'll be sort of checking every day, some of them probably checking to see what's going on. So that means they'll be the first to know before we do. So they're going to post onto their Facebook pages, and we're going to share it onto our English Friendly Japan Facebook page. So if you haven't liked and followed that already, there'll be a link underneath this video, and if you like and follow it, as the new information comes to hand about who's allowed in to do tours, you'll be able to get that information as well, as at the same time we do. Unfortunately, those of you who are wanting to come and not do a tour, to come and just do your own thing here, there's been no talk of that yet. So the idea is, the Japanese, very typical Japanese thinking is the control thing. They want control. So at the moment, you know, if they're only letting a certain number of people in, and they have to be under the control of Japanese tour companies that can control where they go and what they do and who they're with, and make sure they wear masks and make sure they follow all the rules and everything else. You know, that's the way the Japanese people like to do things, you know, keep all the foreigners in the places that they're designed to be or are supposed to be, and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So very tight control. So that's why they're insisting on only with the approved tour people. But that'll lighten up once they've done that for a little while and realised that hasn't led to catastrophe either. And they're insisting that everybody that come be vaccinated. They were insisting that everybody be PCR tested on arrival in Japan, but they're going to drop that. So, you know, if everybody that comes has already been vaccinated, you would assume that in a country of 127 million people, where there's a percentage that haven't been vaccinated, that the extra tourists aren't going to make a big deal. I mean, you know, you can't imagine it's going to make a big difference to what's happening here as far as corona is concerned, but they're just being cautious as always. Birds are happy, aren't they? So yeah, as far as coming here freestyle and doing whatever you want to do, no talk of that at all yet. But as we hear about that, we'll keep you informed. Follow that English Friendly Japan Facebook page, because that's where the updates will be coming as they do. Crows, awesome. Oh yeah, look, before I go to, there's a couple of important things too. Recently, because of the economic effects of Corona and of Ukraine and all these other things, we've lost a lot of our Patreon supporters and our PayPal supporters. So interestingly, a couple of our biggest Patreon supporters were actually in Russia, and because their money's just, the tails dropped out of their money, hasn't it? So those guys have dropped off. So we've lost a few people from around the world for different reasons due to different economic effects. Patreon has a exit survey thing, so when people stop supporting, they can leave a explanation or a sort of a comment to tell us why they stopped. And that's been the number one. No more money. We don't have any money. It's financial. Our financial situation has changed. Is what they usually, the box they usually click. So and also our PayPal supporters as well. They've dropped off as well. So those of you who like what we do on our channel and want us to continue doing what we're doing, please consider supporting us on Patreon or PayPal. There's always links for both of those under every video in the description. If you're already a PayPal or a Patreon supporter and you can step up your support a little bit, it'd be really appreciated because it helps us to continue doing what we're doing. Speaking of the English family thing, that's where a considerable portion of our income comes from. And of course, the last 2 years, a lot of the tourist-related industry businesses have gone broke and just stopped operating. So we've lost a lot of those off the English Family Directory, which means our income from there has really dropped. Plus work, of course, we can't work as much as we were working because of it as well. So the effects are still rolling on. So that's made our YouTube channel and our Japan channel work much more important than it was before. As far as the logistical thing is concerned, we're still doing what we always like to do, but logistically and as far as practically is concerned, it's become more important. So again, there's links underneath this video if you can support the channel through that. Very therapeutic, this, isn't it? There's a couple other people who made a similar comment that they like watching the rice fields because it makes them feel good. Really does, It's been a fairly stressful day today, I've got to tell you. And I travel frequently through these rice fields between two little towns and occasionally stop here for different reasons. Sometimes it's to eat lunch or sometimes it's to make a video or make a phone call or whatever has to be done. But it's very therapeutic. More videos coming soon.